In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple accent wall, and this is perfect if you are just a beginner.
This is just like a small 10 by 10 room, blank walls, and there's a lot of potential in here, but I'm going to keep it very minimal and very neutral.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a mom of 3 kids who taught herself how to DIY, and I'm here to show you how to make your house beautiful and function great for your family.
In a small bedroom, you can add a ton of color and make it really cozy, but in this case, I want to keep it really light and bright. We're going to do a very simple accent wall here that really anyone can do. There's no fancy cuts, they're all just straight. I've been really inspired by that Studio McGee style where it's very light, bright, lots of natural wood tones and whites, and a little pop of color and texture too. So that's what we're going to be using as our inspiration for this room. So before we actually go and cut any pieces or even buy any wood, we need to know what the measurements of this wall are. I like to use a laser level, so this is really handy because instead of trying to like hold a measuring tape against the wall, we're just going to use a laser level or a laser pointer. So here's how it works. So we're gonna press this button. Here, watch. So I'm gonna put it against the wall in the corner and it will tell me how long you want them. Okay. So this tells me it's 113 inches without having for me to try and span across that entire distance. I already have a good idea of what the design is going to be, but the one thing you want to take note of before you start any accent wall is if you have any outlets or anything you need to work around. So I need to work around just one of these here in this room. This is so exciting. This is my first woodworking project of 2024 and it's going to be super simple grid style accent wall.
I'm not going to cut all my pieces right now because I'm still not exactly sure of the design. So I'm going to try and get a few boards up there and then map out the design using painter's tape.
This is the hardest part of living in a townhouse right here. To install any type of accent wall, like the one you see behind me, I always use a cordless brad nailer. I will link this one below, but let me show you how this basically works. So as you can see, this is well loved, and the reason why I love this one is because it's cordless. Literally, you insert your battery and you're ready to go. Okay, the other thing is you need to have nails in here, right? Because somehow those slats have to attach to the wall. So you just pull this little lever down here and this opens up, and this is where you install the nails. Or this is where you put the nails in. So I'm using 1.5 inch nails, and the only thing you have to think about when you put them in is that there's 2 sides to the nails. So can you see this is thicker and this is thinner? You just put them in with the thin side pointing out because the nail head is the thick side. Okay, and then you just push this and it snaps closed. And you're ready to go. I actually have a full tutorial on the difference between different nail guns, like a pin nailer versus a brad nailer. So I will link that below if you're still in the beginner stages and you want to learn more.
Before you install any of your boards, make sure your walls are level. So my walls and ceilings were level, so this made it really easy for me. I had my husband give me a pair of helping hands just because this board was so long. So I butted up right up against the ceiling there, and then we installed it.
I'm kind of unsure of the height where the rest of the board should go, so I'm just going to use green painter's tape. This is the cheap stuff from the dollar store to map out my design. Okay, so I marked where the bed is gonna go. So this here is where the bed's gonna go, and that's helping me figure out the height of the board that's gonna go above. So I think this is a bit high and I'm gonna move it a bit lower.
Once you're confident with your measurements, then you can cut your boards and install them. Just make sure you use a level on every single piece to make sure that you're installing them super straight. A lot of people wonder if I go into the studs. No, you don't need to nail into studs every single time. As long as you are crisscrossing your nails, meaning you shoot one upwards and one downwards, then you're gonna get a strong hold. actually so happy at how easy this one is. Like, compared to panel molding, this is like a very, very easy accent wall. So if you're a beginner, this is perfect for you. So remember earlier on, we talked about the fact that you need to design around these outlets. So because I did, I don't need to make any crazy cuts. My board's gonna go right on this side. Place it, make sure it's level, and nail it. I just want to share a quick note about baseboards and how your trim lines up. So in some cases, you might have that really thin decorative kind of baseboard. In that case, you can add a cove molding, and then your baseboard, or sorry, your trim can sit on top of that. Just provides a little bit of a transition. In my case, my baseboards are already modern and they go with the design. There is a slight overhang, but it's not enough that it really bothers me. So I'm just gonna leave this. We are making amazing progress, and now we have to do all the finishing work. So that means spackling, closing up the holes, caulking, and painting. If you are in the situation where you cut your gap a little too big, do not try and fill this with putty. Cut a few slices of the same trim and see if you can get them to fit. When you find the one that fits, apply some wood glue to both sides, and then you're gonna slide it in. Okay, so now we just have to do the finishing things like sanding and painting. So these are the nail holes. I'm just using P220 grit sandpaper. I never want anyone to look at my projects and think that a DIYer did it. So we're gonna caulk all the seams. So this is basically like all these edges. You know, we need to close all these up. Some of them are not as bad, but I'll show you a few that we really need to do. And all you need is baby wipes and caulk. Why do we need to caulk? Well, you see this gap here? This is actually because the wall is not level. So when I nailed the board into it, there was a slight gap. Now you could leave this, but it is so easy to just seal this up. So I've cut the tip just on an angle, and you wanna make as small hole as possible. So here we go. I'm gonna pull the trigger and we're just going to squeeze and go. Okay, you'll take a damp baby wipe and then you'll just finish off that seam. I just want to show you that this is not caulked, and then down here this is caulked. So now you can see why it's so important to do this. I will never be one of those girls that looks super cute while painting. So I'm here in my painting hair clothes. We're gonna paint this wall and then we'll be done. I don't know what the color of my paint is because the builders did it, but if you're looking, this is like the actual color if you really like it. I'm using Sherwin-Williams Emerald line in a satin finish. So this is the same color as my walls. And because the boards are already primed, all we have to do is just paint them, which should be like really fast. And I always like to give my walls or trim 2 coats of paint just to get a really nice finish. And here's the reveal of the space. I love how this accent wall just adds a bit of a subtle minimal touch to this bedroom. Come back next week and I'll show you how I made over the entire bedroom on a really small budget. I hope you love this project of this really easy accent wall. Honestly, this is the kind of thing that I really think anyone could do. It's beginner level, there's no complicated cuts. I think if you did this like diligently, you could just finish it in like 2 days. And if you don't have a miter saw, you could even get the hardware store to cut the pieces for you because they're just straight cuts. So stay tuned because there's part 2 of this reveal, because this is just the accent wall, but we got to put the whole bedroom together. That means like lighting, bed, styling. So I'll see you next time for my next budget DIY.